Hey guys, it's Kaz here, and today I'm doing my top 10 books of 2019. If you didn't watch my top worst, least, favourite, best video that came out on Friday, then check that out. I rant about 10 books and why I didn't like them. Here, I'm going to be talking about books I do like, so that's always fun. I've kind of attempted to put them in some sort of order, but also it's hard to say one book's better than the other if they're completely different genres, etc. But 8 of them were 5 stars. The first 2 I'm going to show you weren't 5 stars, but they were so close that I need to stop being so anal and actually give out 5 stars more often. Because, I mean, technically these first 2 were 5 stars. I just didn't give it 5 stars because that's the kind of guy I am. So let's just get into that. First up is Wonder by R.J. Palacio. I think the reason I didn't give this 5 stars is because it was a buddy read and we were reading it quite slow. If I read this all in one go and just consumed it, then I probably would have given it 5 stars, which is unfortunate, but it's a great book, so check it out. This is about a kid, Oggy, who has physical disfigurements of his face, and he starts school for the first time. He's been homeschooled so far. It's just a great book. It's middle grade. It's so heartwarming and lovely, but also sad in places. It's also told by multiple characters, which I didn't know going in. I very much enjoyed that. It always felt like the perfect time to move on to a different character. It never felt like we were jumping somewhere when we still had more to hear from somebody else, so I think it was done very, very well. Next up is The Glass House by Suki Fleet. This is a gay, hard-hitting contemporary. It follows a character who has a pretty shitty home life. He makes sculptures out of glass, and he starts getting on with this other boy who has asthma, who's really lovely and really positive, and he's kind of helping out the negative. And it's just really good. It's very dark. There are some dark shit in here. Trigger warnings for previous sexual abuse and depression, but it was a really good book. Next up is Elephant Shoe by J.S. Edge. This is a reread, which is why I've put it quite low on the list, because I definitely talked about this last year in my top books of 2018. But this is just great. Again, it's a contemporary love story between 2 boys, and it's just amazing and so good, and it's self-published and you should check it out. This follows Mikey, who previously was in a car accident with his parents and his best friend, and both his parents died. His older brother shipped him off to their grandparents halfway across England, and then after he's sort of sorted his life out over there and accepted the fact that he lives over there, his brothers dragged him back and forced him to go to 6th form, and he's very angry with that. There's a lot of anger towards his brother and his brother's family. His best friend Tate, who was also in the car, is very distant and he doesn't know why, and he only talks to one girl and he's trying to figure that out, but also there's a relationship between them and it's just great. Disability rep as well. I'm not going to tell you what because it kind of spoils the story, but it's just a really good book. If you like teen angst and cute stuff but also sad stuff, then check this out. Next up is Preacher Volume 5, Dixie Fried. Now, to be fair, I can't really remember what happened in this specifically because all the volumes just kind of leak together, but I do know that in this one there's more of Cassidy's backstory, which is probably why I gave it 5 stars, because I love Cassidy. He's a vampire. This is about a character, Jesse, who gets this power enter his body where he can tell people to do whatever he wants them to do and they will do it, and heaven and hell and crazy stuff and like Southern America, and then Cassidy's a vampire. It's just a really good fun series. Next up we have The Missing Branch by Kay MacLeod. This is one of my sister's books, well, novellas that she released this year, not this year, last year. This is part of the Bulwark anthology, so basically somebody has this book or series based in this place and then loads of other authors wrote a story set in the same place but with different characters and different stuff doing different things, and this is Kay's. It's paranormal romance, but there's so many twists in here you will not expect it. The ending is just like luckily she's writing another book for this, because otherwise I'll be like, what is going on? Just read it for that ending, because what? It's about a girl from England who's trying to figure out a family tree, so she ends up nipping over to America, to this small town where weird creepy stuff is going on. There's a weird house, there's witchy stuff going on, there's paranormal stuff going on. there's also a cute boy called Matt going on. It's a good book. And staying on that K. McLeod hype, The Carmelian Fox by K. McLeod. This is the first in the Mayamon series, which is basically like Pokemon and Digimon. This Mayamon thing has been created in real life, so gamers can have the actual creatures in real life. Several years later, people have got bored of the game, they've just let their creatures go off into the wild, and they've kind of taken over all the wild parts of the world that are not habited by people. And our main character, Sam, is trying to become a prime, so she can go around capturing them, helping out, making sure that they don't get into the habitated parts of the world where people live. And it's just really good. The characters are great, the battle scenes are great, all the gems are great. That's what they're called, these creatures. They're called gems, genetically engineered monsters, and you'll love it. If you like monster catching games, check it out. Next I have I Was Born for This by Alice Oseman. This is the first book I read in 2019 and it got 5 stars. It was off to a great start. This, I don't know, it's hard to say, but this is my favourite Alice Oseman book. I feel like a lot of people have mixed feelings about this book. I don't know why, but I loved this one. Apart from Heartstopper, obviously that's like a totally different ball game. But if we're talking about just the novels, then this is my favourite Alice Oseman. This follows this boy band and also a girl that's a fan of the boy band, and it's following them both and their paths meet. And it's just really good, and a great talk on fandom and why people are so obsessive about it, and how the people on the other side of it feel, the people that are famous and getting the people obsessed with them, how did it make them feel. And it was just a great time. Next I have The Expedition by Bia Uzma. This was a completely random find. I think I found it for like £1 in the works and thought, oh, I quite like expeditions, I'll give it a go. And ended up loving it. I read it all in one go. Not that it's hard, it's quite thin and easy to read, but it was so interesting. It's non-fiction about this expedition that went missing, and then in the 1800s, like 1880s I think, 1897, and then like 30 years later their bodies were found and they had enough food to survive, they had enough ammo to survive, they didn't seem to have had anything that would have made them not survive. And it's this whole mystery of why did they die, how did they die, and it's just super interesting and so easy to read. There's diagrams in here, there's extracts of all their diaries and stuff, pictures. It's just super interesting. I'm a sucker for expeditions. And so is Bia Uzma, because she heard about this and then decided to go on this massive journey to try and figure out what happened. She went and looked at all the records and the bones, and she went to the place that they had died, where their camp was found, and it's a good time, it's interesting, it's a quick read. I loved it. Next up I have The Size of the Truth by Andrew Smith. And if you've been here, you know that Andrew Smith is my favourite author. This is his first foray into middle grade, and it's great and fun and still quintessentially Andrew Smith, just with less swearing and less gross stuff and, you know, a younger character. This follows Sam, who, if you've read Standoff, which is the second in the Winger duology, you would have met Sam because he's a character in there. This follows him when he was younger, and it's like his life at that age, but also telling the story about this one time when he was like 5 or something. He fell down a well and was stuck there for a few days, and then there was a talking armadillo called Bartleby. What more do you need? I loved the voice of Sam, well, the voice of Andrew Smith, because he just writes so Andrew Smith, and it's about him. He's really clever, and it's about his family wanting him to go to the higher school and go up grades, and he's just chill where he is, and it's just a great time. One of my favourite things in this book is this character James Jenkins, and he says he's like a murderer, and it's just hilarious the way he talks about James Jenkins. For example, the first time we're introduced to James Jenkins, he says, James Jenkins walks like a murderer, he combs his hair like a murderer, James Jenkins chews goldfish crackers for a really long time, which is something only a murderer would do. I very much enjoy that. Every time he's mentioned, he's just like, yeah, like a murderer would, and that's everything. And then last but certainly not least, we have Golden Boy by Abigail Tartlin. This is a book that I feel like everyone should read. This is about a main character, a boy who is intersex, and trigger warnings because right at the start, basically he's raped, and it's very descriptive on page, but he's raped and the whole story is about him figuring out what it means to be intersex, how that works with who he is as a person. It's very poignant, it's very interesting, and there's a lot of information without it being too dry and too like a dissertation. You find out a lot of things about intersex in a way that it's easy to read, and it's just a great book. I feel like a lot of people have read this. If you haven't, then like 1000% read it. If you can read about someone getting raped, or if not, then like skip the first chapter or something whenever it happens, because it's so good, it's so important. You don't read many books about people being intersex, so that in itself is just great. But the story is told by multiple perspectives, just like Wonder is. So you hear from his point of view, and then his brother and his parents and this girl from school. It's just really, really good. So there we go, those were my top 10 books of 2019. If you haven't seen my worst 10 books of 2019 yet, then check that out. I put it up on Friday. There's a lot of rants in there, so give it a go. Let me know down below what some of your favourite books were from 2019, or if you've read any of these, what were your thoughts, your opinions? Do you want to read some of them now that I've talked about them? Let me know. If this is your first video by me, you enjoy it, and please check out some of the others, and if you continue to enjoy them, please subscribe, that'd be awesome. Anyway guys, I'll see you in a few days with another video. Bye.